Hi everyone, and welcome back to The Artist Way with me, Veronica, aka Vespertilio. I am an Italian comic book author, tarot and oracle deck creator, and your spooky art teacher.
It's me again, yours truly.
If you're new here and you don't know what this is about, I highly recommend you watch this video first. This is episode 0 of 12 of this new series about the artist way. So go watch this video first and then come back to join me in week 1. Before we start, I have a couple clarifications to make regarding how I approach this first week of the artist way. This first week of my third round with the artist way actually lasted a week and a half, and it's going to last till the end of this week. This because between last Wednesday and yesterday, basically, I've been in Scotland and I've been for the first time in my life in Edinburgh and also visited some of the national parks in the Highlands and went to Loch Ness. So it was absolutely amazing, but since I wasn't alone there and there were a lot of things to do, I couldn't do everything about my first week of the artist way on that first week, and so I balanced everything between those 2 weeks. However, I managed to do my morning pages every single day. The only exception was for the Loch Ness trip day when I needed to be super quick in the morning, and so I managed to do only 1 page of my morning pages. To kick off this series, I want to share few simple rules that I decided to create to help us share and enjoy this experience together. Rule number 1, it is forbidden to compare your journey with mine. This is a place to share, not to compare. This is a place to empower and not to discourage. Rule number 2, you don't have to do this perfectly, you have to take yourself seriously. We're going to discuss this in more detail while reflecting on this first week chapter, but in short, you can pick yourself up whenever you trip or struggle. Rule number 3, remember you can stop at any time if you feel this is not the right moment for you or if you feel like this is not for you. Many people don't resonate with the artist way. I want to give you a quick advice on how to understand if your step back comes from a fear-based thought or if it comes from a healthy message from your intuition. How do you tell those apart? In my experience, I learned that when fear is speaking to you, you will panic, you will physically and mentally feel very anxious and scared. For example, I think I can't do this because I'm really scared I won't keep up with everything and I won't be able to do this perfectly. I really don't want to face failure. Those thoughts might be hidden underneath more logical reasons, but I strongly believe each and every one of us can tell when there's an underlying fear-based thought. When intuition is speaking to you, it is with a calm voice and everything is really reasonable and it doesn't make you feel uncomfortable. For example, under episode 0, I received a comment that perfectly pictured this, and it says something like, now I don't need to read a book, I need to start making art and invest my time and energy in creating art. I thought about 2 ways of approaching this journey with me. You can either proceed step by step, week by week, and so meet me with these videos and kind of reflect together on the past week we already did, or you can let me stay ahead of you of 1 week. And so, for example, today I'll walk you through this first chapter, I'll reflect on it, I'll share my weekly check-in with you, and then you be able to start your week 1 and we'll meet at week 2 when I'll be doing my weekly check-in for week 2 and you'll be starting it instead. We're now going to start with the walkthrough of this first chapter and then we proceed with my weekly check-in. So week 1's chapter is called Recovering a Sense of Safety. This week initiates your creative recovery. You may feel both giddy and defiant, hopeful and skeptical. The readings, tasks, and exercises aim to allowing you to establish a sense of safety which will enable you to explore your creativity with less fear. And this chapter opens with shadow artists. There might be different reasons why we get blocked in our creative journey. To me personally, is reconnecting with myself and with my craft and finding again the pure joy of the art making process. I am very lucky to be born in a family that has always supported my choices in terms of studies and career. Of course, it wasn't perfect, but I can recognize that I was privileged in such position because many people don't have such privilege, unfortunately. And the author talks exactly about this with shadow artists. Many times there are people that have the potential of being artists, but that have been blocked through their lives by their families, friends, etc. For example, the author talks about kids who like to draw and that are slowly but very firmly pulled away from that activity because it is not considered serious and it is often considered a waste of time. Baby artists are urged to think and act like baby doctors or lawyers. A rare family, faced with the myth of the starving artists, tell its children to go right ahead and try for a career in the arts. Instead, if encouraged at all, the children are urged into thinking of the arts as hobbies, creative fluff around the edges of real life. For many families, a career in the arts exists outside of their social and economic reality. Art won't pay the electric bill. Too intimidated to become artists themselves, very often too low in self-worth to even recognize that they have an artistic dream, these people become shadow artists instead. Artists themselves, but ignorant of their true identity. And that's basically what brings us here. We might feel an inner call towards art making, towards the arts, but we don't feel worth it or we don't feel capable of pursuing it, not even as a hobby. But congratulations, because if you picked up this book and you started this journey, it is already a huge step ahead towards the direction of your dreams. The author also says that shadow artists often gravitate around other artists. For example, people who really enjoy art, who like going to museums or that enjoy art history, passionate about filmmaking or music. If you tend to gravitate towards a particular art form and towards a particular kind of artist, it is most likely that you're that kind of artist too, but you can recognize that. Talking about few examples, the author says, shadow artists they needed to place themselves and their dreams stage center. They knew this but didn't dare. They had been raised to the role of shadow artists and would need to work consciously to dismantle it. As a rule of thumb, shadow artists judge themselves harshly, beating themselves for years over the fact that they have not acted on their dreams. And here's what I anticipated you earlier. In order to move from the realm of shadows into the light of creativity, shadow artists must learn to take themselves seriously. With gentle, deliberate effort, they must nurture their artist child. Creativity is play, but for shadow artists, learning to allow themselves to play is hard work. Then she follows talking about the artist child within. So I believe at this point we all heard about the inner child, our inner child. And many times we're called to connect to this inner child to learn to basically take care of ourselves in ways that maybe weren't met when we were little. In this case, if you're a shadow artist, you probably were a child artist. So your inner child is actually an artist child. So in order to connect and set free the creativity within you, you need to take care of your artist child. Remember, your artist is a child. Find and protect that child. Last Saturday, I was drawing at the Witchery in Edinburgh, and a person sitting at the table close to ours complimented me while I was sketching. And they said, I'd love to draw, but I can't even draw a stick man. As an art teacher, it was natural to me and automatic of me to say, it's just practice, you need to start. And they said, no, you don't understand, I can only draw a stick man. And I told them, well, have you ever tried to draw a stick man every single day for a year? Because of course you're going to be discouraged if you only judge your level of skills at the beginning of your journey. And the author here talks exactly about this. Typically, the recovering shadow artist will use these early efforts to discourage continued exploration. Judging your early artistic efforts is artistic abuse. This happens in any number of ways. Beginning work is measured against the masterworks of other artists. Beginning work is exposed to premature criticism shown to overly critical friends. In short, we behave with well-practiced masochism. When the author tells us to take ourselves seriously, she doesn't mean we have to be harsh on ourselves or beat ourselves up. She means we have to take our recovery seriously, and we have to take each and every step seriously. That means that we have to be really serious about being gentle, about taking our time, about not focusing on perfectionism. That's what we have to take seriously. We have to take seriously taking care of our artist child. We have to take seriously not judging our early efforts too harshly at the beginning of this journey. To be serious about this path doesn't mean to be our worst critic. Progress, not perfection, is what we should be asking of ourselves. Creative recovery is like marathon training. This can go against the ego's grain. We want to be great, immediately great, but that is not how recovery works. Remember that in order to recover as an artist, you must be willing to be a bad artist. Give yourself permission to be a beginner. When I make this point in teaching, I am met by instant defensive hostility. But do you know how old I will be by the time I learn to really play the piano, act, paint, write? Yes, the same age you will be if you don't. We have to be serious about being gentle with ourselves because we will be instantly attacked by our inner enemy, our inner critic. The author calls it our censor. Much fear of our own creativity is the fear of the unknown. If I am fully creative, what will it mean? What will happen to me and to others? In this week, we will work at uncovering our negative beliefs and discarding them. And then the author lists a series of commonly held negative beliefs, and we are encouraged to see if any of those resonates with us. So I'm going to read a few of those to you. Again, I highly suggest you get your physical copy to get all the information about this path. I can't be a successful, prolific creative artist because everyone will hate me. I can't be a successful, prolific creative artist because I will abandon my friends and family. I can't be a successful, prolific creative artist because I will do bad work and not know it and look like a fool. I can be a successful, prolific creative artist because I will feel bad because I don't deserve to be successful. All of these examples of core negative beliefs are not necessarily true. They come from our experience. They come from our parents, our religion, our culture, and our fearful friends. Negative beliefs are exactly that, beliefs, not facts. The world was never flat, although everyone believed it was. You are not dumb, crazy, egomaniacal, grandiose, or silly just because you falsely believe yourself to be. What you are is scared. Core negative beliefs keep you scared. Then the author lists a series of negative beliefs and their corresponding positive beliefs. Artists are drunk. Artists can be sober. Artists are crazy. Artists can be sane. Artists are broke. Artists can be solvent. Artists are irresponsible. Artists can be responsible, and so on. How do we fight negative beliefs? With positive affirmations. She actually talks about those as affirmative weapons, and those are positive affirmations. Affirmations help achieve a sense of safety and hope. When we first start working with affirmations, they may feel dumb, hokey, embarrassing. Isn't this interesting? We can easily and without embarrassment bulging ourselves with negative affirmations, but saying nice things about ourselves is notoriously hard to do. So this week we have to start getting serious with using the tool of affirmations. We need to write down a series of positive affirmations about ourselves. What will happen is that the minute you start writing those positive affirmations, negative beliefs will pop in your head. You have to notice those negative beliefs. You don't have to discard them. You don't have to not think about them. You have to notice them. I actually write them down. Once you write those negative beliefs down, start asking yourself, where do these negative beliefs come from? Is it a past experience? Is it something someone said to me once? Does this come from a traumatic experience? We have to do a little detective work, as the author talks about it, to find out where do these negative beliefs come from in order to dismantle them. The author calls these negative things popping in our head blurts. And we'll need to work with affirmations and blurts in this first week. Where do your blurts come from? Mom, dad, teachers? Using your list of blurts, scan your past for possible sources. One effective way to locate the sources is to time travel. Break your life into 5-year increments and list by name your major influences in each time block. You have to list both the ones who had a positive impact on your life and those who had a bad impact, a negative impact on your life. So your homework for the first week of the Artist's Way is to start getting your recovery serious and start working with your affirmations and do your detective work on your blurts. Lastly, the author suggests a series of creative affirmations for you to use. She advises us to choose a few from these affirmations and work on those, as well as creating our own affirmations. There are 20 examples in total, but I'm going to read to you only the ones I have used this time. If you watched the previous video, you know this book isn't religious at all, but it has a spiritual approach to this creative recovery, so it uses the word God. The author advises us to substitute the word God with whatever word we are comfortable with. A person in the comment section of this episode 0 told me that they were so uncomfortable with the word God that they replaced it with myself. That is completely valid. But whatever you choose to be your source of creativity, you really have to believe that is the unlimited source of your creativity. So whether it is God, the universe, the goddess, your mind, yourself, you really have to commit into believing that that is the unlimited source of your creativity that you just have to learn to listen to. Those are the creative affirmations I've used this week. My dreams come from the goddess, and the goddess has the power to accomplish them. As I create and listen, I will be led. I am allowed to nurture my artist. There is a divine plan of goodness for me. I am willing to experience my creative energy. Then we have this first week tasks. I highly recommend you get your physical copy of the book, but I'm going to read to you the ones that I have personally done this week. The non-negotiable tasks for each and every week are your morning pages, 3 pages of longhand writing of pure stream of consciousness, and your artist states. A couple of hours each week in which you're committed to bring on a date your artist self. This week, please be sure to work with your affirmations of choice and your blurts at the end of each day's morning pages. Convert all blurts into positive affirmations. I'll give you an example from what I did this week. So for instance, when I wrote down, I am allowed to nurture my artist, my blurt was, you can't waste time and money on this. My new positive affirmation then was, I have the legal and divine right to fully live my life. And when I wrote down, there is a divine plan of goodness for me, my blurt was, you are just someone who believes they're better than everybody else. And so my positive affirmation then was, I am proud to be a good person, always ready to better herself. I am capable of saying sorry as much as I'm capable to step up for myself. About the artist dates, the author gives us a simple example. Take $5 and go to your local 5 and dime. Buy silly things like gold stick and stars, tiny dinosaurs, some postcards, glue, a kid's scissors, crayons. You might give yourself a gold star on your envelope each day you write, just for fun. This week I actually did all of the tasks. Time travel. List 3 old enemies of your creative self-worth. Please be as specific as possible in doing this exercise. Your historic monsters are the building blocks of your core negative beliefs. This is your Monster Hall of Fame. More monsters will come to you as you work through your recovery. It is always necessary to acknowledge creative injuries and grieve them. Otherwise, they become creative scar tissue and block your growth. Time travel. Select and write out one horror story from your Monster Hall of Fame. You do not need to write long or much, but do jot down whatever detail comes back to you. The room you were in, the way people looked at you, the way you felt, etc. Cartoon trashing your monster, or at least draw a nice red X through it. Time travel. List 3 old champions of your creative self-worth. This is your hall of champions, those who wish you and your creativity well. Be specific. Every encouraging word counts. Even if you disbelieve a compliment, record it. It may well be true. Additionally, you may wish to write the compliment out and decorate it. Post it near where you do your morning pages or on the dashboard of your car. Time travel. Select and write out one happy piece of encouragement. Write a thank you letter. Mail it to yourself or to the long-lost mentor. Imaginary lives. If you had 5 other lives to lead, what would you do in each of them? I would be a pilot. I would be an opera singer, an actress, a doctor, etc. Whatever occurs to you, jot it down. Do not overthink this exercise. The point of these lives is to have fun with them. More fun than you might be having with this one. Look over your list and select one. Then do this week. For instance, if you put down country singer, can you pick a guitar? I actually forgot about this exercise, but I realized I did it because among my imaginary lives, there's of course the dream of being a professional singer. And while I was in Scotland, I sang in front of a crowd for the first time in quite a long time. And it was actually my very first time singing in front of a crowd outside of my country. So that was pretty great. And I didn't even realize I managed to do this task. In working with affirmations and blurts, very often injuries and monsters swim back to us. Add these to your list as they occur to you. Turn each negative into an affirmative positive. And lastly, take your artist for a walk, the 2 of you. A brisky 20-minute walk can dramatically alter consciousness. It is now time for the weekly check-in. So, what's a weekly check-in? You will do check-ins every week. If you're running your creative week Sunday to Sunday, do your check-ins each Saturday. Remember that this recovery is yours. What you think is important, and it will become increasingly interesting to you as you progress. You may want to do check-ins in your morning pages notebook. It's best to answer by hand and allow about 20 minutes to respond. How many days this week did you do your morning pages? 7 out of 7, we always hope. How was the experience for you? So, as anticipated, this week I had to split my week 1 into 2, basically. Being currently halfway through this second week of week 1, I can say that I've never skipped my morning pages. And as I told you, the only time I couldn't do all 3 morning pages was when I was going to Loch Ness. And so that day I only did 1 page, but that didn't stop me, and it's okay. And I'm still glad that I managed to do 1 page. At this point, I am at my 3rd rodeo with the artist ways, so I'm pretty used to morning pages. But some days I still find it really hard to write 3 whole pages. Sometimes I can, and in fact, I end up writing even more pages, but some days I really feel the need of using prompts at some point in the pages to help me with what I want to write. Hopefully, I'll remove this block. Did you do your artist date this week? Yes, of course, we always hope. And yet, artist dates can be remarkably difficult to allow yourself. What did you do? How did it feel? So I really wanted to do my artist day in Edinburgh, but I've spent every single moment with my sister, and on some days my cousin joined us. I needed to spend some quality time with them through this experience. I got back yesterday and today I had my artist date. In Scotland, I had breakfast almost every single day in this gorgeous tea room called Clarinda's, I believe it was the name. I'll write it here somewhere. And it has just this super cute, cozy vibe. And there are a couple of places that match that vibe in my hometown. And so I went out and got myself a cup of tea with some biscuits. I spent a couple hours sketching and reading a book I got in my trip. It was really nice. I still believe I can have more fun with my artist dates. I believe that was a fun artist date for my adult artist. And that is something I've always struggled with, to be honest. I really feel like I need to get in touch with my artist child and see what she wants to do in our artist dates. Were there any other issues this week that you consider significant for your recovery? Describe them. Right now, I don't think there were significant issues. I think there were significant developments, if I have to be honest. The trip I took to Edinburgh taught me a couple of unexpected things. Surprisingly, even though I stopped with my affirmations and blurts last week, I did them for 7 days basically, I kept repeating positive affirmations in my mind every single day. I can't identify significant issues, but that is a significant positive something that definitely surfaced during this first week. With that said, I'll keep writing my morning pages till the end of this week. By the time you'll be watching this video, I'll be reading my week 2 chapter. With that said, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you had fun coming along with me through this first week of the Artist Day. Once again, whether you're doing this along with me or you're starting right now with your week 1, I really hope you're going to have a positive experience with the Artist Way, because it really helps me every single time I go through this course basically. Again, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to check out all of my social media platforms. But anyways, I'll be here each Sunday, so you know where to find me. I will see you very soon with more art videos. In the meantime, let's make art. Bye.